See, it's going down. It's going down like young Jock. I'm telling you, Caitlin Clark was pissed off. She was not happy with the substitutions being taken out every 2 minutes, and she voiced it after the game. She slammed Stephanie White in the Indiana Fever, said, hey, look, I didn't know nothing about this. This was not a part of my plan. I don't know what the hell is going on. I know I'm on a minutes restriction, but I didn't know I was going to be coming out every 2.5 minutes.
The single most explosive locker room conflict in the history of professional sports has officially erupted behind closed doors, and the Indiana Fever franchise is now in a state of complete administrative turmoil. For months, millions of confused fans around the world have demanded answers about why generational superstar Caitlin Clark is being repeatedly pulled off the floor by head coach Stephanie White in a puzzling, calculated 3-minute substitution pattern that many believe disrupts her momentum. But tonight, the growing internal tension has reportedly reached a breaking point, triggering a fierce, high-stakes conflict that the front office never expected. In a series of events that has left team officials stunned, veteran forward Sophie Cunningham reportedly lost her patience, stepping into the middle of the controversy to confront her own coaching staff. Locker room sources claim the situation reached a point of no return when the coaching staff allegedly suggested that Clark was the real problem with the roster. Sophie reportedly pushed back, forcefully challenging the coaching staff in defense of her superstar teammate, demanding to know why the organization continued making decisions that, in her view, failed to support one of the biggest stars in women's basketball. Tonight, we are breaking down the exact moment the locker room reportedly fractured, the tense exchange between Sophie Cunningham and Stephanie White, and how this internal conflict could reshape the team's future. To truly understand why the locker room reportedly became so divided, you have to examine the decisions being made from the sideline during live games. In professional basketball, continuity and rhythm are essential to an elite scorer's success. Yet, game after game, Coach White has relied on a structured substitution pattern that many fans believe interrupts Clark's offensive rhythm. Just as the superstar appears to find her shooting touch, the whistle blows and she is sent back to the bench. Critics argue that the repeated substitutions have disrupted both her conditioning and her confidence on the court. For weeks, the generational talent remained silent, attempting to respect the coaching staff's decisions while media coverage continued questioning her efficiency.
Abruptly being subbed out over and over, just ridiculous. This is in the article on the Indy Star by Chloe Peterson. Okay, here it says, Clark did not look like her usual self on Wednesday, playing in 2 to 3 minute spurts as a condition of her minutes restriction, something she said when asked about that setup. She said, that was not my decision. That was somebody else's decision. That wasn't on me. I ain't want to do that. That was somebody else's decision. She was also quoted as saying, it's really hard when you're playing 3 minutes, sub out 3 minutes, 3 minutes, then you're on the bench. Clark said, it's really, really hard to get in the flow. For the most part, I got good looks. Some of them went, some of them didn't. I probably didn't get to have a feel for the game as I usually do. It's just really, really hard for me to play in that scenario. But overall, my body feels great. So that's the positive I can take from today. So she let it be known. And I said that. That's why I said, I'm not tripping over her missing shots. There's no rhythm. You can't play 2 minutes. Go sit down, go get.
But behind the scenes, the frustration was building like a pressure cooker. The coaching staff completely misjudged the emotional resilience of the roster, operating under the assumption that the players would simply accept these decisions without pushing back. They failed to realize that by repeatedly focusing criticism on the face of the league, they were gradually turning the heart of the locker room against their own leadership. The defining moment reportedly came during a tense post-game team meeting where the coaching staff attempted to shape the narrative. Coach White stood before the team, reportedly shifting responsibility for the club's struggles and pointing to Clark's aggressive style of play. It was viewed by some as an effort to isolate the superstar and place the spotlight on her rather than the team's broader issues.
Are you expecting a player to have a rhythm and play well? Your star player, the best player on your team, the face of the league. With this, I understand a minutes restriction. But if this was the plan, you should not have played her at all. This is a horrible plan. This is not setting up your star player for success. This is sabotage. This is setting someone up for failure. Make no mistake about it. And then you got Stephanie White subbing Caitlin Clark out left and right. Look at this. Caitlin Clark is ready to sub in. And Stephanie White's just going to pull her from the check-in table. Caitlin Clark's there to sub in. And now, boom, she's just go back to the bench. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then they brought in, I believe they brought in They brought in Lexi Hall or Sophie Cunningham instead after this, alongside Michaela Timpson. I mean, it's just ridiculous what is going on. Just go back to the bike. Like, how is she going to play well in this type of setup? It is ridiculous. Okay, this is the article courtesy of Chloe Peterson on the Indy Star. Why Caitlin Clark struggled in return from back injury, suffered 2 weeks.
But before the staff could finish delivering their prepared message, Sophie Cunningham reportedly erupted in visible frustration. Refusing to let the discussion continue without objection, Sophie stepped into the center of the room, breaking the usual professional routine. She looked Coach White directly in the eye and demanded an immediate explanation for what she believed was the continued mistreatment of Caitlin Clark. Sophie openly challenged the coaching staff, arguing that the real issue facing the Indiana Fever was not Clark, but the decisions being made within the organization.
Star and ESPN following the 106-92 loss. Even though my workouts have been hard and I've responded well to those, you just don't know when you get into a game environment. Obviously, I'm such a competitor. I think I can play more, but sometimes that can get you in trouble. It's a long season. It's a long year, and a couple of games like this isn't going to mess you up. Just get your feel back, and it'll be okay overall. Stephanie White said, anytime you missed a couple of weeks, it's going to take time to get acclimated. It's going to take time to build endurance. Well, Stephanie White, you're talking about building endurance. Caitlin Clark said she wasn't even tired. So, like, y'all not on the same page. Y'all are not on the same page at all. This is a debacle. This is a circus. Clark could never truly get into a rhythm because of those seemingly constant subs. She made sure her body stayed warm the entire time, using the exercise bike in periods off the court and wearing a heat therapy pad on her back. But with the amount of time she spent off the court, she couldn't ever get a true feel on how it was playing. She said it's just really hard when you're playing 3 minutes, sub out 3 minutes, then you're on a bench. It's really, really hard to get into a flow. For the most part, I got good looks, you know. She said, I probably didn't have a feel for the game as I usually do. Like, it's just really, really hard for me to play in that scenario. And it'd be hard for anybody to play in that scenario. It'd be hard for anybody. Okay, she said, I told our trainers after the game that it stinks we didn't win, but she's basically saying, you know, she got out the game healthy, and I guess that's okay. Now this is...
It isn't the generation-defining talent on the hardwood. It is the bitter, small-minded politics of an insecure administration that cannot handle a young star commanding the global spotlight. The entire coaching staff was reportedly left stunned and speechless by the intensity of Sophie's remarks. Coach White, accustomed to maintaining control of the situation, appeared visibly shaken as tensions within the team continued to rise. The locker room quickly turned into a heated confrontation, with multiple players reportedly refusing to accept the coaching staff's explanations. According to these claims, the internal conflict marked a major turning point in the relationship between the players and the organization's leadership.
You know, I felt like some of our rotations weren't there. You know, as good of activity level as we had a game ago, I don't think we had that here tonight. You know, again, it's big when you don't have an AB on the floor. Certainly, you know, we didn't have Sophie early as she locked up early. You know, before even warm up, so we didn't have her early as well. So I think more than anything, collectively, just the team defensive effort, making sure we're in our rotations, having each other's back. It wasn't there consistently.
Trash as a coach. Now let's get into Kelsey Mitchell acting like she don't even care. Like she don't need Caitlin. Like it's crazy, man.
It's about showing up. It's my job. I'm gonna do my job every day. I think that this game can't be taken for granted. You gotta respect it. You gotta pour in whatever you got into it, and give that every time. I don't think there's an excuse that you can give to do this job, and I think that I do my damnedest to make sure that I show up. If I can lace them up and I can do what I need to do, then I'm gonna do it.
If I can lace, I mean, I respect that, but damn, it seemed like are you trying to say Caitlin not giving her all, not lacing them up, doing what she got to do? What are we talking about here?
Thank you. Hi, ladies. Charlotte.
I mean, I thought they did a great job. Break point turnovers that led to.
It seemed like this game or something like there was.
So it's always disjointed, disoriented when.
Now they're gonna talk about.
By choosing to prioritize personal authority and administrative ego over team unity and basketball success, the coaching staff has, according to this narrative, undermined the franchise's internal culture. Television networks, corporate partners, and millions of fans are said to be reconsidering their support, frustrated by what they view as a toxic environment created under the current leadership. The hunters have now become the hunted, and the front office is reportedly operating in a state of growing panic as it realizes it may be losing control of the locker room. The entire sports landscape appears to be entering a new era, with long-standing power structures beginning to shift. This situation is no longer just a debate about player minutes, defensive schemes, or team chemistry. It has grown into a broader conflict centered on loyalty, market influence, and the power of superstar unity against an established system. Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham are portrayed as having drawn a clear line in the sand, and their determination not to back down could become the catalyst for a major shift that leaves this controversy remembered as a defining chapter in basketball history.
Into her and built a team to play around her. They've spent 2 off seasons building a team to play without Caitlin Clark. It's clear as day. It's very simple, and I think the writing is pretty much already on the wall. At the end of the season, Kelsey Mitchell contract is up. Caitlin Clark is up for the Epic, whatever. The Indiana Fever are going to be forced to pick a direction. They're either going to choose Kelsey Mitchell and Stephanie White, or they are going to choose Caitlin Clark. And I include Stephanie White in that because Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark, philosophically, they just don't see basketball from the same lens. It's that simple. I don't believe that they hate each other off the floor. I just don't think that on the floor, it's a good mix. I think they just see the game through 2 different lenses. And we have been yearning and calling for Stephanie White to actually stand up for, represent, and be front and center for Caitlin Clark. And she's refused to do it at every turn outside of a 30-second clip post the Alyssa Thomas situation, in which she backtracked on everything she said and made Alyssa Thomas the victim when her superstar point guard was the victim.
The fans have spoken. The locker room has reportedly reached a breaking point, and the organization may soon face its biggest leadership test yet. Will the front office decide to make a major coaching change before the franchise falls even deeper into turmoil? Or will the superstar duo become the driving force behind a dramatic shift that reshapes the future of the entire league? One thing is certain. The sports world is watching every decision from this moment forward under intense scrutiny. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications because this locker room drama is reaching its boiling point, and the next major development could change everything.